Hi and welcome back. Today I want to actually demonstrate a neurographic drawing. It's what I start with when I do an art therapy session. And so today, while I'm drawing, I'm going to give you a little bit of background, a history of what Neurographics has gone through, and we're creating to heal. So this method is a method I truly believe heals. So I'm going to start with this watercolor pad that I had got at the dollar store. Of course, now the dollar store has the section where things are a little higher, but I thought this paper was really nice for not only watercolor but for alcohol markers. So I don't know if I'm going to use the alcohol markers to color it in at the end or if I'm going to use my trusty colored pencils, but we'll see as we get to the end. I'm going to start with a newer Sharpie. This was the newest Sharpie I could find, and it has a really nice tip on it. And I'm going to use these micron pens. I have two that are number 2s. I don't know what shape they're in. Let's hope they're in really good shape. And a number 3. A number 5. I might change this up when I get into the rounding. I like my rounding to be really sharp. And I'll explain to you what rounding is when we actually get to the rounding. Now, about the paper, it doesn't say much on the cover. It tells me there's 24 sheets and it's 8 by 10, acid-free, heavyweight. I think it's a cold press. I'm not really sure. It's labeled watercolor. It's not bright white like I like it. It's it's creamy white, but not as dark as some of the cream colored paper that I find. So as we get into the drawing, we'll go into the basic steps of the drawing. The line should go from one end of the paper to the other. And when you're drawing a line, the lines of the original neurographic drawing is kind of a bumpy line, which if you've seen my other video on neurographic drawing, my lines are kind of sweeping. So there's 2 methods to get this, because you're not supposed to go with your instinct. You're supposed to just draw intuitively and change direction and go around. You can use a and this is why I have this here. I believe this is why I kept this here. You can use a coin and have the coin be your guide, because a coin will go off to the left or right. You have to go off. And one I saw where they built a shallow edge around their paper and they just followed a bug, and that one came out really cool. It was a lot of in the corners, but the lines in the middle were definitely not thought out. It would go from one to the other. So I'm just going to start, because I kind of start and I will go from one, but I try not to be too with my lines where they're going, but I do get to the other end. Now lines can cross over, but where you think lines are going, maybe not so much. Now this is actually called the algorithm. This technique of neurographic and the neurographic drawing craze was actually started by a Russian architect. He was an architect and a psychologist, and his name was Pavel Piskarev. I know I beat that up last time in my other video. Piskarev. And he, see, that one was two, but we're going to leave that there. He invented it in the mid-2000s, but after more than 20 years of clinicians using this technique, it has changed somewhat. I mean, not the technique of the drawing of the algorithm, but some have added different things that are acceptable now. The basic rules of the neurographics are, when you're drawing, when you start your drawing, when the paper is blank, have a theme in your head. Like, I'm doing this to relax. I'm doing this. Some have videos online. You can do it if you want to create more money in your life, more peace in your life. Some clinicians have it as a meditative exercise. I use it in my art therapy practice because neurographics helps relieve anxiety. It helps relieves depression. And it helps relieve chronic pain, which, you know, is amazing, trauma, emotional pain, and physical pain. And I could go on and on about all the things that it can do. But it's very important to define your topic in the beginning and draw for something. So I think I like this. I think I'm at a point where I'm happy with my algorithm. So once your algorithm is done, we're going to do rounding. Now, the rounding is actually the most therapeutic part for me. Once I have the algorithm and I've thought, sometimes I will turn the paper around and see if I could see any shapes in there. Because when I start coloring, I like to think, oh, look at, I've seen, you know, I see something in there. So we'll start with the 5. Now, rounding, the important part of rounding, as far as the original creation of the neurographic, and let's see if I could say his name again, Dr. Piskarev, as he put the basics down, the basics were you have to do all the rounding in one sitting. So I could have made this more intricate, and we could have been here all day and night, because I've been realizing the more intricate your algorithm is, the more you're rounding. So if you're into the rounding part, which I am, you kind of get a little carried away with your algorithm because you really do want it to be that intricate. This part to me is not only the most fun, but I want to have my glasses to see. Now, so we are going to go into each corner here and we are going to round it out. Just like that. That's what rounding is. So we're going to go around it. And that's what we're going to get. So I'll go through, while I'm doing this, I'll go through shapes with you. The circle shape is representative of oneself. If you want to add a circle shape, it could represent you in the drawing. It's a positive shape. It's a peaceful shape. So circles are encouraged. I mean, any shapes are good, but if you're doing this, I do them as reflections sometimes of myself. So I do use the circle a lot, and I could do another flip through, not after this one, but after like another video of some of the smaller drawings I've done. I think the last flip through I did of a ooh, I'm sorry. Oh, wrong one. Of the bigger drawings I've done. So this 5 is working really well as far as getting all the rounding done in a nice crisp. I like it to be nice and crisp. And so let's see, we've got subconscious. The circles are for sun, life, and harmony. So I have some that are just circles. I just did circles, 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 and it does make you feel really good. Then we have the square, and that's for strength and fortification. So squares are for strength and fortification. And I'll tell you, squares, when you're doing this with squares, it really does give you that strength and fortification. And the last shape that is significant to this would be the triangle. And the triangle reflects change, conflict, not friendly, and unsafe. So if you're feeling unsafe and not particularly friendly, or you're reflecting some situation that hasn't felt friendly to you, triangles reflect that. And this does, you could take as long as you want with the rounding, and you can, I guess, go through it as fast as you want. With a larger drawing, I know there are times I've skipped around a lot with the larger drawings. And in the present, it seems like the new neurographics don't have as many rules to stick by. They add different elements to it. Like you can add to doodling in one section. You can doodle in a section, or Zendangle to it, and you could make it more personal, and that's like acceptable now, more acceptable than it was when it first came out. because these are the rules. These are your basic rules. And even though it's changed, sometimes it just feels nice to stick to the rules. And even though this drawing wasn't actually done specifically by each and every rule, I've stuck to it. But then again, once I start coloring it in, and I may want to add what I call texture to the shapes, or make each shape a different, or if I see something I might want to change it, I have felt okay with that. I didn't feel like I was breaking some real bad law, you know. Okay, so now all my rounding is done. I am going to go through and make sure that my rounding is done at each and every intersection. Intersection, 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 intersection. Okay, so that's done. Now, according to the way it was originally done, you have 3 field lines, and those field lines could go anywhere. They could go up and down, across, any way you want to put them. You could take any lines that you've already created, and you might have to touch up the rounding. So let me get my 5 back. So you pick any of the lines, and you make 3 heavier lines. So 3 of the field lines, and those lines should actually be lines that tie your drawing together. So I'm going to go with this line right here. And you could see this line goes all the way down here into here. I'm not going to worry about those intersections right now. I am going to select all my field lines first. And you know, that's not a rule. You could do it if you want to do your rounding now on this line. You could definitely do that. If you want to wait until you choose another line, and because these 2 lines come together, I'm going to choose this line. And I'm going to go over and then come back. And I think I've already chosen a down line, but I'll see how this looks and then we'll go. So yes, I like that. So my down line, I thought it was going to be this one. I had chosen this one, this, or this one. So flash 2, I started to finish the field lines, and I was coloring in, and I noticed as I was coloring in that the camera had gone off. So here we are. I used some alcohol ink markers here. They're vintage markers, Pantone colors, and this one is a design marker. These are from the 80s. I wanted to check and see how the paper did, and the paper did, I mean, really well. So will be really good paper for alcohol ink drawings and for watercolor. I can't wait to test the watercolor. So here I am coloring it in. And what I had started to say before I looked up at my viewfinder to see the camera had gone off is, before I go on with any of the colors, I wanted to turn the paper around to see if there was a shape or two in the drawing that I related to, and I could see this kind of looks like a fish, but I don't know, not as much as well, not, you know, distinctively enough to make it distinctive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go continue to color in, and I'm going to answer the last question that I have, and that is the difference between neurographics and neurographia, or neuro drawing. And yes and no. There is a difference between neurographics and neurographics, neurographia, and neurographic drawing. The difference is, when it was first invented, it does have rules that you have to follow to go by to create your drawing. Whereas the neurographia is kind of the modern neurographics, where sometimes they add in the different doodling and different zendangle to, I call it, texturize the drawing. So that would be the only difference if I were to say there was a difference. But as far as the difference is, the basic algorithm is the same, and the relaxation and the benefits you get from the drawings, those will always be the same, I believe, because I've done it all different ways. And I must say, though, that some work with your theme and your meditation, some work faster than others, and I think that's your concentration level while you are doing the drawing, that you get that. They say it takes, was it 9 to 15 drawings, they say, before you could manifest from your drawing. I've had drawings that have helped me manifest within days. And I have drawings that I did that have still not manifested. So I guess it's if you believe in what's going on in your drawing, what you're thinking, how you're thinking. You know, some people say, well, I can't meditate, it doesn't work for me. And that's true. I do hear that, but a lot of people meditate in a lot of different ways. There's different ways to meditate. So that goes along with the drawing. There's different ways to do this, and sometimes you're doing it and you're really seriously thinking about what it is you want to manifest. And then at other times, you are just doing the drawing because it's relaxing. You're not really thinking of anything. So that, that could be part of it too. So for time benefit, I will speed this part up. So this is what it looks like when you've broken some rules. So I hope you try this, and I hope it relaxes you and gives you a calmness that you enjoy. And you can practice this every day. And the pencils I used were Prang pencils. They're colored pencils found in every school in America, probably. The white dots I made with Posca, my Posca pen. This right here, Posca pen. And that's it. Enjoy and create something today. You'll be really glad that you've gotten your pencils out and you've created something today.